Hello there, good people. Welcome to the Cold Hard Football Facts. I'm Rob Shaw with Kerry J. Byrne. We got a lot of football to discuss today. We are live in Boston at the Champions Restaurant. 40 plasma screens here. Quite a bit.
It's a lot of football. Even I'd have trouble keeping up with all the stats you can crunch from 40 televisions.
Now, coldhardfootballfacts.com, a leader when it comes to statistical analysis of football, and it's been around for about 6 years. Why don't you give us a little history here, Kerry?
Basically, Rob, what we do is we're all devoted to what we call quality stats. These are stats that have a direct correlation to winning football games. That's what it's all about. A lot of people, a lot of pundits, we call them pigskin pundits, throw out a lot of numbers, do a lot of analysis that has nothing to do with what's actually going to help you decide who's going to win the football game. We've, through the years of my study, have figured out what numbers matter, Rob. Those numbers that will help you figure out who's going to win on Sunday, and that's what it's all about.
And you've had some success. We're going to go over that in just a second, but also to keep you caught up on what's to come, we're going to have Peter King from Sports Illustrated come here and talk about the stats in the NFL right now. We're also going to give you a little help when it comes to tailgating with a chef that you will recognize, and also, look, you got to have some beer as well, and we're going to have Jim Cook from Sam Adams to discuss some of the best beers for the football season. But let's start off with what's typically the week in review, but in this case, we're going to go over the Super Bowl last year. A lot of people going with the Colts, but no, not you.
The Super Bowl last year was a perfect case study of why the Cold Hard Football Facts are so powerful when it comes to deciding who's going to win games. The Colts, 70% of America thought the Colts were going to win that game. You looked at all the big sports websites out there, every so-called expert, pigskin pundit, picked the Colts to win the game. The Colts were 5.5-point favorites. Not only did we pick the Saints to cover, we picked the Saints to win outright in an upset, and we told you how they were going to win the football game, Rob. I mean, we could not have nailed that game better. And just running, I got here some of our numbers, our quality stats from last year, and if you run down all our major quality stats, the Colts, the Saints were better in every single one of those except one stat. All the numbers we look at, the Saints were clearly the dominant team. So to us, it was a no-brainer. And then when you look at that game, the Colts jumped out to an early 10-point lead, right? They were up 10-0 in the first, maybe second quarter. The Saints dominated them the rest of the way, outscoring them 31-7 over the last three quarters. I mean, it was a mismatch from there on out, and we just using the numbers that correlate to victory, that we were able to just kind of nail that game. And there's a lot of games like that. I mean, we do that week after week, every year, finding the numbers that you need to look at to know who's going to win the game.
Well, let's go over some of these numbers. I mean, what was it that told you that the Saints were the team that's going to take that big trophy?
The NFL is all about one thing, Rob. And people talk about establishing the run, things like that. The NFL is always all about the passing game. It always has been about the passing game, even back in the 40s and 50s. If you dominate the passing battles, you're going to dominate on the field. The Saints last year, they were 26 in pass defense. If you look at the amount of yards they surrender, right? Well, we know that yards are not really an indicator of success, but if you look at our stat, defensive passer rating, we take the formula you apply to quarterbacks, we apply it to pass defense. The Saints were third in the NFL last year. They were a dominant pass defense, but not if you looked at yards. Yards will not help you. I'm telling you, they will not help you. You look at defensive pass rating, that will help you. They were much better than the Colts in that indicator. Not only that, everyone talked about Peyton Manning was the greatest quarterback of all time, right? Mm-hmm. Drew Brees was the best quarterback in football last year. He was better than Peyton Manning in every number that mattered, all the numbers we look at. By the way, he set an NFL record for accuracy last year, the most accurate season in NFL history. So we looked at this. Here was one team who was better in passing offense, better in passing defense than the Colts. They were clearly the better team, and they proved it on Super Bowl Sunday.
So what is it that I guess the mainstream might have missed there? I mean, you're mentioning that there are these numbers that are out there. When it comes to quarterbacks, I mean, I'll tell you right now, especially with the world of fantasy, I'm looking at touchdowns, I'm looking at passing yards, but you're telling me those are just the wrong numbers.
Let me tell you something. Do you know the last quarterback to lead the NFL in passing yards and to win a championship?
No, I didn't.
Take a guess. Just throw out a name.
Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner. The last quarterback to lead the NFL in passing yards and win a championship, Johnny Unitas in 1959.
I don't remember watching him.
No, I wasn't quite born yet myself. But the point is, people are obsessed with big passing numbers, but you look at, Jim Marino in 1984, the all-time record for 5,084
Sure.
passing yards in a season. He had a great season, but they ended up losing to a quarterback that year, Joe Montana, who was much more efficient. He performed better in the key stats we look at: passing yards per attempt, interception rate, passer rating. You need to look at the efficiency stats. Drew Brees is a great example. In 2008, the second most passing yards in history, 5,069 passing yards. The Saints went 8-8. great, and they were a non-factor. Last year, he had one of the most efficient seasons in NFL history, and they win the Super Bowl. You have to look at those efficiency numbers, not the volume numbers.
Well, that's just a little bit of what's to come so far. You're watching the Cold Hard Football Facts. Here's a little taste of what's more to come later on in the show.
Later on the Cold Hard Football Facts, we get away from the stat sheets and into the kitchen. Jason Santos, star of Hell's Kitchen, and also from Gargoyles on the Square in Boston, he's going to show us how to make a great, incredible tailgate dish.